Hey, good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today. We're working on an Eberron adventure. It's going to be publishing on the DMsGuild. I'm going to check my signal and make sure we're good to go. It's going to take probably about a minute for me to do that. Instead of you watching a countdown, I'm just going to yammer at you. So if you're already familiar with the channel, go ahead and skip ahead a minute. And you can check it out there. Looks like our volume is doing okay. Let me fix that here. If I can. Come on. Checking my volume. Check. All right. There. Here. Good. Let's see. Almost done here. So my name is Phil Kearney. What is up? I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I've been running games in D&D since 1987. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018, but I haven't made any adventure. I haven't published an adventure. I've participated in a number of adventure productions, but I've yet to actually make my own. So this is me checking this off of the bucket list. So looks like we are done with that. Here, just a capstone real quick. Here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And here's a full playlist of all 415 episodes. Here's a slew of books that I've already created on DMsGuild. They all have free previews. Check them out. If you find that they're adding value to your game or your ideas, consider making a purchase to encourage similar behavior in the future. We made this book cover around episode 40, and we are currently working on an undead army commanded by a Ultraloth. So let's drop the Yugoloth. And let's drop the front ranks just to simplify our board. Hey, Fox, how you doing? I'm a little better rested today, so that's good news in general. Bup. And let's see, how's this guy doing? Well, his head's too big, of course. That's how we're always doing. Boop, bloop, there. Okay, we'll start here. And actually, I think I want to take the body and make that a bit bigger. So I stream 10 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning. Like this, doing artwork for whichever book is going to be done next. And in this case, the next book that's going to get done is Eberron. And then I stream on... let's see, I have a Saturday morning stream prior to the Martial Powers playtest that we run. That starts about the same time. Well, the Saturday morning the Saturday morning stream starts about the same time as this one does. We have a Tuesday and Friday design stream. Yesterday we were looking at the new monster manual and how it has changed the monsters that we have already been using in our playtest. Fox, if you see that video, there's a couple instances where you can see bits of map on the next floor, on the level down in the third zone that you guys haven't seen yet, but it's incredibly minimal and brief. So basically, it confirms that there are actually other rooms that you guys haven't explored on that level yet. So I mean, it's hardly the end of the world, but it is a spoiler, an unintentional spoiler. Roll20 shifted its center focus when I was off screen and I came back. It had somehow reset itself to its center point, so that revealed information I had not intended for it to do so. So just word of caution out there. And so on Monday, on Tuesdays and Fridays we do typically Martial Powers design stream. And then either on Mondays or Wednesdays, we have some sort of design stream that we run at lunchtime. That was Monday this week, so today I will only be online doing artwork like this today. And then on Mondays and Thursdays, I typically have a bashing campaign design stream that I run in the evening. But this week... tomorrow, instead of streaming at my normal time, I will be participating with Mr. Welsh, Wally DM, How to RPG. We'll be playing Mr. Welsh's, we'll be playing AJ Pickett's Super Atomic Punk. which is a light role playing system about superheroes. So we'll be creating some random superheroes, and then fighting whatever monster of the week it is that gets served up to us. I participate in this live stream game, maybe like once a month or so, maybe once every 2 months. So, and I've been a team member there for probably about I want to say almost a year now. So you have I think 5 sessions. A few of them have been I think 3 of them have been Beckme. One has been Super Atomic Punk, and this is also going to be Super Atomic Punk. And I will eventually be running a Guild Delver playtest game with that team. But I want to get this Eberron book done first, so that I have a little bit of time to focus on what I'll be presenting there, so that I make a good first impression. But hey, what's up? We'll catch the episode after we crush that content. Excellent. Yeah, once you guys get down to level 5 or so, you can take a look at that. But basically that was basically a stream of just looking at spiders, dark mantles, umber hulks, wights, ghasts, ghouls, and zombies, which are the basic types of monsters that the team has fought so far in the Mega Dungeon. Sans the greenskins, the greenskin, the orcs, the hobgoblins, the ettins, the orcs, bugbears. I have not covered those yet, but I might do that on Friday. I'm not sure exactly what my design stream on Friday lunch is going to be. Maybe we'll go back and keep working on the Spellpoint Sorcerer a little bit, because it's been a while since we poked at that bear. That's actually the Spellpoint Sorcerer is actually almost done and nearly ready to go into edits, but it's not my primary project, so I haven't been focusing fire on it. I had already put this project on hold for a year so I could create the Spelljammer book. So there's a bit of respect I need to pay to the team that helped create this adventure so far, and the only way I'm going to get there is by actually finishing this. So luckily, updates. I only have 10 pages left in the page layout section, in the actual adventure section. 10 pages. And then the full adventure will actually be done. All these different columns, we'll have them all properly broken down. That does not include the monsters section, which we knew we would have to visit once the 2024 Monster Manual was released. But obviously it's been released now, so I can move forward in completing, basically looking at the updates that go with those monsters, and because we have a couple monsters of our own that we created for the adventure, and we needed to make sure that they're going to properly mesh with what monsters are in general now. And during that process of creating the adventure, what am I trying to say? We're finding that the mob rules of creating mobs of undead to attack as a squad, considering that the theme of this is forgotten undead troops that have been converted into skeletons, the Red Wolf mercenary military company that is involved in the region, and the fact that we have 7th or 8th level characters fighting creatures that are low enough in CR that 1/4 to CR1 NPC soldiers can fight and survive. That means we need to have low CR monsters for them to fight, and so the 2024 mob rules that are in the DMG are actually really good at being able to have low CR monsters create significant tactical threats to higher level characters. So I think what we're going to end up doing is when we have the monster entries in this book, we're going to have the monster entry, and then we're also going to have an entry for the mob, group them in groups of 4 or 8, or groups of 4, 9, and 16 to show the scale of the mobs, so that when your team is attacked, it's you are attacked by a mob of 9 zombies, for instance. We'll have the stat block in the back of the book for what a mob of 9 zombies can do. So you have the zombie, which is like CR 1/4, and you'll have the mob of zombies, which is CR. It's still CR 1/4. 1/4 CR is 50 experience points each. So a mob of 9 zombies is 45 experience points, 450 experience points. And we need, I think we need like 5,000 to be like a deadly threat. So it's like, I think it's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 is the scale that we need. So like 9 zombies is more of a flavor text thing. Like, it's not going to take a lot for the team to kill 9 zombies, but when you're in a space that can attract 9 zombies, every round of combat can pull more zombies to you because they're being attracted to the violence. So killing 9 zombies themselves, yeah, you can take them out pretty easily with a fireball, but your 7th level, 8th level characters, you only have like 3 fireballs. So then it becomes an issue of, do we have the resources that we need to actually outlast the amount of zombies that we're facing? And if we don't, those zombies are going to be doing like 4d6 damage each hit, and they're going to have like a +10 to hit, and they're huge. They act as like a huge size creature in mass together. That becomes really fucking dangerous really quickly. So the monster hordes in these are not only things that you can like physically fight, but they're also, to an extent, environmental hazards. That it's like, it's really fucking dangerous just to stick around and fight them for a long time, because hordes of zombies beget more hordes of zombies. There's always another horde around the corner. And that's like a real theme of this adventure, is undead hordes are taking over the environment. So your characters need to think about, like, at first it's probably gonna be like, ooh, killing these things is like candy. But then as you get further and further in the adventure, it's like, well, now you're gonna face a horde of 9 ghouls, and they've got that paralysis effect. So they've got their claw, their claw bite. They can either claw or they can bite twice, right? So if you've got a horde of 9 ghouls that are coming, and we were talking about this yesterday, how the action economy breaks up, where like you can take an action to claw, and it paralyzes. If you fail to save, it paralyzes you until the end of your next turn, or you can bite twice. So with a horde of ghasts, you can have 2 actions. One is a couple of them claw at you, and whoever fails their saving throw then gets mobbed by the rest of the ghasts that start chewing on you with multi-attack. So it could deal like 2d6 plus 10 damage to you, and you're paralyzed, and then you get hit by a horde that could do 4d6 biting damage. And now you're paralyzed. It's a crit, so that 46 becomes 8d6 damage. So getting caught out by a ghoul has I think it's 200 experience points per ghoul. So if you put 9 ghouls together, that's 1,800 experience points. That's a decent threat that can get you fucking X'd pretty quickly if you're not paying attention to it, even though you're playing 7th level characters. And that is a level of terror that I think is appropriate for what this adventure is doing. So I'm really enjoying the mob rules. I'm going to need to run a few play tests to make sure that mobs play out well. So where could I find a place? Where could I find an environment where I'm running mob rules to see how well mobs work against characters? I wonder what campaign, what opportunities I might have to run something like that. So anyway, Martial Powers playtest. That's they're fighting a bunch of undead in temples right now, and they're digging their way down to deeper and deeper levels inside the temple to find out like because there's monsters inside it. Like, is this going to be a threat to the world if it gets unleashed? And so the team has been exploring that. That's what we're doing on Saturday. is run this this martial powers playtest to utilize these martial power mechanics that we built, which is an alternate magic system for martial characters. Basically, like barbarians, fighters, rogues, monks, all now operate with this half-casting, these half-casting resources and a completely separate list of spell-like powers that they can cast during combat or exploration. It's not the same sort of flashbang or utilities that full casters get, because that utility is where the full casters shine, and AoE and control is where full casters shine. They can also do like big blast damage, but the martial characters, they can modify their saving throws. They modify D20 tests and damage and conditions that they cause to single target foes. But they have multiple attacks per round, so they can render these conditions onto multiple creatures per round with spammable resources that is basically in scale with, but different from spellcasters. So it has a very different feel to it, and figuring that out has been a lot of fun. Hey Fox, I don't know if you've, since you're one of our playtesters, I don't know if you've taken a look at the suggestions for the changes to efficient power, if you have an opinion about that yet or not. Because I am interested in seeing what feels the most intuitive. Whether it's Nightmare Warden's suggestion was stick with the feats, but limit the feat to your proficiency bonus modifier. So if you have a prof +2, you can take the feat twice. If you got a prof modifier of like at 13th level of 5, then you can +5. Then you can take the feat. Like at 13th level, you'll have like 14 powers in total, and 5 of them could be reducing the cost of other powers by 1 point. So I think that's a pretty organic, natural way of working on that. But there was also the idea of making it making a sustained power that generates mana. So if you have the efficient channeling power active, it's generating a point of mana that you assign different powers to, and so you spend 1 point to turn it on. And then as a kicker effect, you can add additional powers to it, which will lock up additional points of mana. That's a very MTG feeling sort of thing to do, but I'm concerned that it's a little technically clunky, and that just going with the limit feats to proficiency modifier is actually a very simple way to go. So, keep it simple is often good design. So I'm thinking that is going to end up being the winner, but I didn't want to just assign that without contemplating the idea of a sustained effect. But the more it sits with me, the more it feels like at first level, ironically at first level you get 4 powers. So if at first level you're capped at only making 2 of them efficient, you could choose 2 powers and then make them efficient, and then that's your entire roster of powers that you have available to you at first level. So that would be a big risk reward, because like you wouldn't have space for any fighting styles, you wouldn't have any space for any other feats, you wouldn't have any space for any sustained powers. It would just be, these are the 2 powers that I've decided I want to be able to spam. And by the time we get to 4th level, you've got 5 powers, but you still can only use 2 of them efficiently. So you have, at that point, a total of 3 powers, feats, or fighting styles that you can tack onto your character. So I think that's a good solution, instead of making it just open however many you want to spend, and it gets a little crazy quick because how many powers you get, because they blend with fighting styles and weapon masteries. I think that's the solution. So I'm basically bouncing off of you as an idea right now. I think the right solution is actually to go with that. Keep the feat, limit it to your proficiency modifier. That way, as you gain levels, like if you were to dip, fighter 1 like at 7th level, let's say if you were to dip fighter at 9th level, then you would only be a 1st level fighter, and you would only have 4 powers. But at 9th level, you have a +4 bonus. So if you had like for one level of 9th, and then your second level at 10th, you'd have 5 powers, and then up to you have more efficiency than you have powers to spend the efficiency on. So that's a good bottleneck that prevents dip abuse. A lot of the work that we've done in the Martial Powers project is to make sure that it stays balanced, even if you multi-class between martials and casters, that you have a throttle or a choke point on how the fat supply of mana that full casters gets throttled or restrained by the mechanics of the martial side of the power system. And so far, I think we've found annoying solutions that are fun to design around, that aren't immediately abusable by just anybody that decides to pick up the system. So I think that's a success. So yeah, I think we're just going to go with the feat. Because before we didn't have a limit on how many times you could take it. So like at 4th level, when you have 7 powers, you could take 4 powers and then make 3 of them efficient. Or at 5th level, you'll have 6. Sorry, no, it's 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you have 7 powers. Yeah, so you could have 4 powers and then 3 of them would be efficient. Or you could have 3 powers, all 3 of them are efficient, plus you have a fighting style. It was too liberal. So I think by throttling that back to only 2, and then at 5th level you can pick up a 3rd if you wanted to, but now you have access to 2nd rank powers. So even if you make a 2nd rank power efficient, it's still going to cost you a point of mana. You're going to burn through your pool quickly regardless, just a little bit more slowly when you select a 2nd rank power to become efficient. I think that's going to work out. So I think that's how we'll play test. So on Saturday, we'll probably go back and rebuild the subclasses again, utilizing the efficient powers as listed with the new constraints. Anyway, I'm rambling. Can you tell I got some rest? I ramble a lot more when I get rest. I guess the audience will eventually decide if they want sleepy Phil or a wakeful Phil. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Considering the level of detail that goes into these guys, that feels pretty good. So let's make him a little bit bigger. There you go, buddy. Now let's see how well he sits in frame. That feels pretty good. Let's get rid of that. Let's go to here. That's free. Nope. I've got a heater on now, so we're eating. Let's turn that off. I said, let's turn that off. And rehydrate. Beep, 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 beep. Pre-transform. Cheers. We'll fill this in. We'll do some detail work. We'll add in some lighting. bind it together, work the line art into the color, and then we'll move on to the next skelly. I'm pretty excited about how much progress we're making on the layouts at this point. And there was a real choke point there for a while where I was having difficulty trying to suss like how I was supposed to parse the data. But it seems to it seems that experience has proven as effective to be able to sort these things out, and it's starting to flow easier. And the actual text, it's fitting together easier. I'm really proud. I'm really happy with where the book is going. I will be happy to share it with everyone. Take a look at. Obviously, it's going to publish. You'll be able to look at it then. But I'll do a flip through once I get the layouts actually done. Probably before we actually start working, like show you everything but monsters, because monsters are a hot mess right now. But everything else is looking pretty good. And although almost virtually all of this skelly is covered by other skellies, I still wanna make it look good. Because we'll know it's back there, and we'll know who he's all about, even if the camera can't see him. Hey there, buddy. That head's still a little big. I acknowledge your big head. Let's do it this way instead. Bigger body seems to be the right vibe. That's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. It's better enough. Go. Looking good, Mahmood. Let's add some gore. Wrong color, Kearney. Boy, after all this Undead, I'm really looking forward to working on artifacts for a couple weeks. A couple weeks, fuck all. This stuff is taking me a long time to finish, but that's what happens when it's slow art until the layouts are done, and then once the layouts are finished, I'll instead of working on layouts at night, I get to work on expediting the artwork. So once we clear these pages, I'll have well, we still have to do the monsters, but that should be easy enough. But he says, but yeah, once we actually get all the text in the book locked down, then we're going to be able to really expedite artwork, because I'll put in, you know, a few hours of work at night working on page layouts and stuff, and once that converts over to artwork at night, I'll be able to put in, you get the like hour some odd that you get in the morning here of me doing artwork, but currently this is all the artwork that I do right now, because I'm still getting the pages done. Once the pages are done, all that time at night then gets spent on progressing the artwork. So instead of seeing an update from yesterday morning to today, it'll be whatever time, like the 2 hours I spent last night working on page layouts, I would be able to work on a slew of skeletons. So I'll be able to collapse time frames in finishing each piece. And so we'll be able to begin new pieces, move through things. I can also work on maps, arranging maps onto the page so that they sit pretty as well. That's time I can spend off screen as well. So we're going to be able to much more quickly move through completing this piece once, or the whole document once we get to that point. I think that's good enough. So let's take this, and I want to drop down the opacity just a smidge. I'm going to blend these together. Merge down, cuts through. Now we can erase all the chaff around it to clean it up, and then we'll blend in the line art just a smidge. And then we'll move on to the next guy. And as we keep moving further and further back, we need less and less details. So it's funny when I'm doing landscape, like Bob Ross landscape paintings, I start at the back and work my way forward. But when I'm doing detailed work on characters, items, and stuff, I work on the foreground first to put a cap on the amount of detail that's going to be present in any particular object. And then as I move away from the camera, I can I can continuously reduce the amount of detail so that you have that perspective, that detail perspective. You can tell, there's a few ways you can tell if something's further away from you. You can make it smaller. You can reduce the saturation of the colors. And you can decrease the amount of detail. Those are generally the three ways that you can indicate distance when you have something to compare against. And so in instances here, we're applying all three of them. We'll have the fog effect create atmospheric disturbance, interference, so that it has less color saturation. And we're obviously making them smaller, and then you can see now that we have less detail as well. All three of these things conspire together to say this skeleton is further away from the camera than the front line is, which is a very obvious thing to say, but it's what your brain says to you when you look at it, not me telling you. So that's how you know it's accurate. But when you're an artist, you need to learn these things. And so hopefully this is an educational space for other artists to catch the drift of stuff that I'm talking about. Maybe I'll occasionally talk about things that other people don't think about that will help you up your game of art as well. Outside chance. You know what? That's actually a good point, because there's the tough feat that gives you extra hit points. And if I were to take like tough a dozen times, I'd get plus 12 hit points per level, and I just basically become just like a crushing tank. That's not really the intent either. So in the when you're preparing feats that can be taken multiple times, just having a general rule that says you can't take the same feat more times than you can't prepare a feat more times than your proficiency bonus. That actually is we have now 2 feats that can operate inside of that space, and there's probably others that might come up in the future. So having just a hard rule, that's actually good design, to be able to have something like that in place to acknowledge the spammable nature of I'm going to select a bunch of feats. So if I'm going to pick a bunch of feats that I can take over and over again, we should have a limit on how many times you can take it. and not and intentionally skilled is not on the list of powers that you can prepare, because gaining 3 skill proficiencies for a single power that you can prepare, that's too efficient. that is too good. So we did not allow that as an option. There. That feels pretty good. Grab some of this bit in here, push this around, get this line art to integrate a little bit just to smooth out some of the more obvious hard black lines that are inside of here, just to make it a little less of a comic book, more semi-real, to match the vibe of the book in general. There we go. There. Obviously, these limbs aren't even visible behind the bodies of other skeletons, so I'm not spending nearly as much time as I normally would on detailing these, but I wanted to get it to a point where if I end up shifting bodies around in the foreground, that what's revealed here is still complete. Hey, what's up with that? Something going zip, zip, zip on my phone. Hold on. I'm getting zip, zip. That's weird. Cool. Here we go. That. I like using the smudge brush to push stuff around instead of painting over. I know a lot of artists will, like, if they don't like this line, they'll grab the color and they'll paint over it. I honestly like smudging. I like the grittiness of it. I like sculpting with the paint, like literally pushing it around like with a palette knife. That's a lot of fun to me. It can create some muddiness. So I definitely have times where I'm going to paint over or erase instead of smudge, but it's really an issue of how clean do the lines need to be. The less the lines need to be clean, the more I'm likely to do smudge instead of paint over, because the act of smudging is dirty. So it feels more organic. It feels less like, it feels more plant and animal material than, say, mineral, where I would be more inclined to paint over instead of smudge. But with organic material, I almost always prefer smudging. But that's just a style choice. And for those that have been here on the channel for a while, they know my definition of style is how we compensate for the fact that we aren't photorealistic. So whatever solutions I come up with, my style is going to naturally adapt to what problems do I have and making things look like what they're supposed to look like so you can identify what they are. The style that I come up with is going to be the solutions that I create for you to understand what it is that you're looking at, even though it's not photorealistic. And that, again, is what a style is. So my style involves a lot of smudging. Because for whatever reason, that's the skill set that developed with the type of art that I make. Don't really know where it came from. Just kind of naturally evolved as I got more and more familiar with working with the Photoshop tools. And honestly, the color picking tools and the smudge tools are what keep me in Photoshop, I think, more than anything else. Like, they're just legitimately good tools that feel very natural to me to use. And that's you know, some people use a 2-inch brush. Some people use a palette knife when they're actually hacking away at a physical canvas. And that's the style that they develop with their brush work. So I am similarly doing so here with the Photoshop tools. There we go. And yeah, you look pretty good there, buddy. So take a bow. Feels pretty good. There we go. Down, down. Sorry, my phone's blowing up a little bit this morning. So most of these guys are sitting okay on the back rank here like this. Some aren't. So let's build all those dudes out the way they're supposed to be built out, and then we can start parsing. We can start having them fill the gaps. That's a little cluttered. Oh my God, my coffee! I'm gonna grab a cup. I haven't had any coffee this morning. I poured myself a cup and I didn't drink it. So give me a hot second here to. I think my light bulb, my overhead light bulb is my major backlight source. I'm pretty sure it's burning out. I'll have to swap that out soon. How are we doing on time? Do I have a timer going or don't I? There it is. Let's we got about 20 minutes left this morning. So let's get rid of the front line here. Everything's looking okay. Look at this sad motley crew. Francois had the request of having one of them hold their head up separate from their body. I will be honoring that. It's going to be towards the back rank. I will also have a bunch of spears inserted, spears and shields to help flesh out the negative space to fill it a little bit more, so it looks a little more cluttered. And we're going to be relying a lot on atmospheric disturbance towards the back ranks. You know what? I feel like I'm going to do this. I'm going to drop these to a low opacity, and then I'm going to actually make a whole nother layer on top of it. Which is something I usually do with character art. I'll do like a rough sketch, and then I'll start doing a more refined layer over it and use the rough sketch as a sort of shadow point. And additional random texture that I think helps add a little bit of realism, a little chaos to the pieces that I build. Oh, hi, Gabby. How am I doing today? I hope I am doing well. Thanks for asking. What brought you by? We're doing artwork for a D&D adventure that I'm going to be publishing online. I create books. I illustrate them, and then I publish them online for people to chew on. And I've been making content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, specifically publishing on DMsGuild.com, which is a third-party resource. And I've been doing that since 2018. But this is the first adventure that I've ever created, and it's in the Eberron campaign setting. Eberron is my favorite campaign, my favorite pre-built campaign world setting to use when playing Dungeons & Dragons. Most people that come by here are either here for the art or here for the role-playing games, because I make art for role-playing games. Eberron, that book you're... Oh, kick-ass. Gabby, I don't know if you've been here before or not. I feel like maybe you've swum by, but it's been a few months. But I'm not great with names, so my apologies if you've kicked through before and I'm not acknowledging that. So it's, you know, frequency creates fondness, as they say. But yeah, this is here. We'll fill in the rest of the pieces for you to see where we're at right now. That's my reference stuff. And then we have the back rank and then Eugoloth. So this is how the piece in whole work. We're going to end up working on this fog separately. But I was much more active in Spelljammer. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Gabby. This is a different format. Here, check this out. If you were to full screen right now, this is using the 16:9 format for digital digital stuff like your cell phone. Here, this is six. It's actually 17 inches wide, 10 inches tall, but it still fits really nicely in the 16:9 space. And so this is a single page that you can view, and there's like 102 of these pages, and then each column is 5.5 by 10 inches, which is also a 16:9 format. So if you're using your phone vertically, you can look at each individual column separately, and the entire book is laid out that way. So it's been a real bear figuring out how to build all of that, but we've been sussing it out. It's working. So I don't do print currently. I only do PDFs because that's what the DMs Guild allows me to do. But I'm really excited about that. It's a non-conventional format, so there's a chance that the market will reject it, which will be sad. But from a creator perspective, it's been a really fun challenge, and that 12-point font makes it like really easy to read the text. So I like this idea. We'll see how everything plays out. I mean, obviously, only time will tell. But I appreciate you coming by. Nice, right on. No shit, I did not know that. Well, you know, if you want to kick through my Discord and share your stuff in the art and memes thread, you're certainly welcome to do so. My Discord server is linked down below. You are most welcome to join. There's no cost. You just want to kick through and say hey, or when you're doing art or any kind of maps or anything, you're certainly welcome to post there, and no one will give you any critiques unless you ask for them. My Discord server is also where playtesting occurs, and we will be playtesting more Spelljammer stuff. Once we finish this Eberron adventure, we're going to be expanding. We've got more Spelljammer stuff, like the Mecha Kaiju book. Like we're using like Gundam style or like Veritech, Escaflowne, Evangelion style mecha in my home Spelljammer Eberron campaign that I run with my coworkers, and it's got enough traction and tooth to it that I wanted to build an actual supplement out of it. And I also love Kaiju, and Spelljammer is a great setting to have just massive scale creatures because space is really big, and so are ship fleets. So I wanted to build an expansion off of that so that you can center your characters around running around in adventures at the 50-foot scale in mecha craft that are basically like giant war golems with massive machine weapons and stuff. So you can fight giants and elder dragons and star foes and shit like that. But I have to playtest it because I don't like publishing stuff without playtesting it. Unless it's super simple, like very simple subclasses that use use established mechanics and already established scaffolds. Those don't actually require a lot of playtesting unless you're pushing into innovative like new design ideas. But most of the like supplements that I make are expand on the ideas of like what 5e can actually do. So most of those works require actual playtesting and a lot of time spent doing so to make sure that when we come to market, it's going to be a solid piece. We're also going to be doing some updates for the Spelljammer book as well. Just some little like improve the ratio of like repairing your ship for spell points that you spend to do so. Looking at just some like for example, burning is now a hazard in 2024, and so that can be used to make the catching ships on fire, make that curve to curve in better with what are now established mechanics in 5e. So just a couple little quality of life improvements, but for the most part, the Spelljammer book that we published is still 100% viable. I mean, like, it is backwards compatible. It actually works. But there are some improvements that we can make, and once we finish this adventure, we'll have an opportunity to actually spend a little bit of time doing that. Yeah, more playtesting. I'm always playtesting something. And the Discord channel is right here, Discord community. Bloop. There you go, Phil Kearney Creations. That's me. Accept invite. Be welcome. Right here, next to my Patreon. Once I'm up to like 2,940 hours of watch time. I believe once I get to 3,000 hours here on YouTube, I have the option of opening up a Shopify store and then start selling stuff, so I can start taking stock art and having like a ribbon of stock art here. Like when you see this stuff, I think it's underneath the show less. I think this is where the Shopify stuff shows up, so I can start like doing bulk stock art down here of like all the different artworks I have for sale. And then the idea is that on my Patreon, $1 subscribers to my Patreon can use any of my stock art. It gives them a license to put the art in their own books. If like you're a design creator and you like my art for your own books, that'll make it real easy. Like you can buy my art to support me if you want, sure. But for designers that like my art and they want to put it in their own books, that's a really cheap, easy way. And other like Dean Spencer and Ralph. What's Ralph's last name? I can't remember it offhand. I've seen a couple different freelance artists that do stock art. That's the way that they basically conduct their channel. Is that they set up a Patreon, as long as you're willing to spend $1 or whatever on their Patreon each month while you're a subscriber, you can basically use as much of their stock art in your own books as you want, which is a really affordable, easy way to be able to maintain connection with people that like your art, right? Especially if you're a designer. So I'm looking at, that's on my not too distant horizon. I suspect I'll be able to do that stuff probably by May. We should probably roll over to my 3,000 hours and get access to that stuff. I suspect maybe in April. We're climbing about 3 hours per day right now. And I'm 60 hours shy, so that's 2 months. That means probably April, assuming I keep this natural growth curve. But that's business stuff. You might not care about that at all. I'm just putting it out there into the multiverse. There we go. Get our hanger. Yeah, I might. For the mecha book, I will. I'm thinking all the encounters that are detailed in Bigby's Glory of the Giants. There's a number of different like giant sized maps and like small adventure scenarios for like fire giants, frost giants, cloud giants, storm giants, stuff like that. I was thinking about making the giants kaiju style and then sicking the characters after them in like 50-foot mecha suits, or like fire giants are huge, so like making huge size mecha, and then like 5th level characters taking on like CR9 creatures, having enough firepower and support in the mecha to be able to go toe to toe with a much higher CR than your characters themselves would be able to survive. So that's where a lot of the playtesting is going to be. The other option is to run Storm King's Thunder as an abbreviated campaign to run through different scenarios, fighting dragons and giants, using the Sky Island as a dropship / bastion, so that we can mess around with the bastion system at the same time of using the Storm King's Flying Fortress as basically as a machine shop, XCOM 2 style. I'm a big fan of I don't like playing XCOM 2, but I love the idea of XCOM 2, and I've watched a lot of Let's Plays. And by watch, I mean like I've got this corner over like this like little 20% of my monitor space is taken up with this ribbon. A lot of times I'll have a small YouTube video over here that's too small for me to really make out a lot of details, but it's constant yammering in the background, and there's a lot of motion stuff that I can pull my eye away from the illustration and rest my eye on for a few moments to so it's either that or like Aliens, for example, or like Terminator, Predator, Prey, movies I've seen a lot of that I don't have to think about, that I can sing along with, you know, as they go. That's where a lot of this negative space here. But like this is my arrangement for my Photoshop, whether I'm on stream or not. This is how I use Photoshop. So, and then I've got another almost as much space over here on the beyond what you can actually see on screen here. Let me see. Yeah, you've got this edge over here where you see the toolbar. Well, it just went away. Like you got this toolbar over here, and I have like this extra, almost as much space as my face over here I have on, because this is a 32-inch monitor, so it's like really freaking big, and it's like it's the length from my camera to the length of the camera to the edge of the screen is literally the width of my finger to my thumb here. And at the same time, that is also the distance my nose is from the screen. That's how blind I am. So I've got this massive space, and you can only see a portion of it. And then all the off-screen space, that's just extra space for me to look at with filler stuff as well. So, why was I talking about that? I don't remember. I just woke up. Sorry. I just woke up in the middle of my own sentence. I'm like, what am I talking about? But But yeah, role playtesting. I do a lot of playtesting, and the martial powers is going from level 3 to 10, and we're level 4 right now, pushing our way into 5th level. And I fully expect playtesting to go till like September. And I am in no hurry to make the martial powers book rock solid. So whatever time it takes to make it happen, that's the time that it takes. Because that is a big fucking feather in my cap to have a mana system for all 13 characters that actually works and complements multi-classing, blah blah blah, like all the things that I like about D&D. I want to make that stuff sing with the power system, and so far so good. But yeah, once we finish that play testing, we'll be getting into mecha. The mecha design, that'll be the next big playtest that we do. So I might blend Storm King's Thunder with the Glory of the Giants, just to have a variety of like giants versus dragons versus whatever else it is that we spill into. But I think I'm going to end up keeping Saturday mornings my playtest day. It seems that running stream in the morning and then like a 3.5-4 hour burst of playtesting Saturday morning, it's not getting in the way of my home game that I run with my coworkers each week, so that's not being interrupted. And yeah, so it looks like everything's working out so far. We'll eventually get into the guilds, and we'll eventually get into the mass combat system that we've been developing, based off of, well, the Spelljammer fleet and squadron mechanics that we have is actually based off of the mass combat rules that we had already developed for the the project was originally called In Command of Guilds and Kingdoms. In Command of Armies, Guilds, and Kingdoms, where this was back before Bastions existed. We were developing a Bastion system to basically do what MCDM did with Stronghold Builders, but actually use 5e rules for combat. And you can see that having been actualized in the Spelljammer system that I have published. But there's different rules because Spelljammer ships can move 10,000 miles per round. So having a distance of like 700, like 2,000 feet to hit my target, like that's just taking 4 steps. You know, that's super easy to do when your ships can move ridiculously fast. But when there's troops that are limited to 30 feet per round, you have to change how time and distance works using 5e mechanics. So it works. We ran greenest and what was it? The Rise of the Dragon Queen. One of the the first encounters in that adventure is first level characters entering a town that's under siege by a dragon and a cult of the dragon, and that's serious trouble for first level characters. But when you rally 50 troops with you and now you're all kicking around inside of a 50-foot square space, your troops are a larger size than the CR-19 dragon is, and you can actually fight the dragon and the army off as first level character, well, second level characters by the time you get them. And it was a ton of fun to do that. And then we used those same mechanics in Descent into Avernus to fight in the Blood War for a while. And that's when the Spelljammer book came out. So we switched from mass combat into fighter ship combat. And the mechanics work just as well. It's like, okay, well, obviously Spelljammer is a hot ticket item, so let's put all this on pause so that we can build out Spelljammer. And we did, and it worked incredibly well, but it took an entire year to do it. So everything got pushed back. So like this Eberron adventure was supposed to be published like 9 months ago, but the team was generous enough to acknowledge where I was at and allowed me the grace to put in that effort. But now we get to backfeed all that. Actually, those mass combat rules can work to a degree with the mob rules that are in the new DMG. So we can now, when we go back and we build out the In Command of Armies and Squads and Armies, we can expand on the mob rules that are in the DMG, and see, you know, this is how those mobs can work with 6,000 troops, for instance. Anyway, ramble, and my timer just went off, so I'm going to run out of time here pretty quickly. God, that looks good. So you posted my turnaround for my main character for a story in the back burner. Oh, right on. Cool. I will check him out when I have time. I'm going to bounce from here directly into the office, and this will be the last time I'm streaming today. But I will be back tomorrow morning. So when I have time, I'll come through and I'll take a look. Looking forward to seeing it. Thanks for participating. And we'll come back around tomorrow morning. We'll be back to continue artwork. I'll get some more page layouts done tonight. I'm down to 10 pages plus monsters to be finished with our layouts. So 10 pages. I suspect it's the 19th. It's possible that we'll have all those done. Well, I had predicted a couple weeks ago that we would have page layouts done in the first week of March, and it's looking like I'm accurate. So that's looks like that's going to come to fruition, and I am looking forward to that. But almost all of this body is going to be covered. So I don't feel like I need to do more than this. I think this is as far down the body I actually need to get with this undead. And it is, yeah, it's 7:55. All right, we're gonna put this guy on pause here like this right now. Let's bring that in a little bit. Hey, his head isn't unnaturally large. It's a little large, but not unnaturally large. That's a victory to the team. So we'll be back tomorrow morning to continue with this artwork, and then I'll be back. I'll post it later on tonight when I get the link. But I'll be playing AJ Pickett's Super Atomic superhero role-playing game. I'll be doing that on Wally DM's channel with How to RPG and Wisdom Check, and I'm not sure who else is going to be joining us. It might be Deficient Gaming. I think there's a fifth, but I don't know who it is. But I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'll be doing that tomorrow night from 5 o'clock till probably 8. And I'll have a little bit of time left in the evening for me to probably work. Maybe we'll work on Bastions. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I might not be online. I don't know. But I'll provide a link to the playtest, or to the Super Atomic game on my Discord server, and I'll post it on the socials so folks can see it. But that's it for now. I gotta bounce out of here. Thanks for swinging by and hanging out with me, guys. I will see everyone in the future. Cheers tomorrow morning.